In this interview, Santiago Garces, Chief Innovation Officer with the City of South Bend, Indiana, speaks about his experience in working with city officials to improve service delivery. Thank you for joining us. A first question. A lot of your initiatives in South Bend, though partly about IT, really built on business process mapping as an important activity and concept. Could you first situate this within city politics? What good is business process mapping, and maybe what do we mean by it?
Yeah, so thank you again. Business process mapping is a tool or a set of tools that comes traditionally from the private sector, where it's a way of visual management where you spell out using diagrams the different steps and tasks that are associated with the completion of a process or the delivery of a service. In city government, we're not the only one to be using it, but I think that it is a tool that was critical as part of the work that we did in South Bend to re-engineer city government to become more effective at delivering services and accomplish mayoral priorities and accomplish some key community goals. So my background is in engineering, not in industrial engineering, but in electrical engineering. But I grew up reading a lot about these tools.
Thanks. Would you walk us through a typical South Bend business process mapping exercise? So maybe just take an example of one.
Sure. I think that it's evolved with time. When I first started the practice, I was the only person that was serving as a business analyst or anything. I was a contractor at the time. And the process was kind of inefficient and very iterative in that I would sit down with a person that I thought was relevant, like an expert in the process, and I would ask them what they did, and I would take notes, and then I would take the notes and generate a diagram, and then I would present it to the business owner, that expert, and I'd say, is this accurate? Is this what you said? And usually they would say, no, that's not what I do. That doesn't happen all the time. There's all of these exceptions. So then start drawing the conditions and then making a more sophisticated process map. I think like in the second iteration, I started realizing that people tended to have sometimes bad memory about what they did. So I started doing more output-based process maps. So I would go and look at what were the documents that got generated and that were critical. That's like the data, the output of the process, and then start process mapping based on that. Then I started realizing that sometimes the process that the city did was not conformal necessarily with the code, with the law. So I started reviewing the law, and even though I'm not a lawyer, I would present it to the lawyers to try to make sure that I had a good understanding. So I'd sometimes make process diagrams about what the law said that we were supposed to be doing, then what we actually did, and then use those two to try to generate the future state of what we should be doing. Nowadays we use a far better system. It's more democratic, and I think that helps instill the culture of process improvement and a little bit more ownership, and improves change management as well, which we train people. The people that do the work actually generate the process maps. So we have 5 minutes of silent time where people are able to draw the process map using Post-its in a wall. And if they have disagreements about like what a particular step is, they can have different versions of the process map. But it also encourages people that are introverts or other folks that might not feel like they have, in some organizations within the city are very hierarchical. So making it quiet means that everybody gets a take. And since everybody participated, usually at the first go, it's pretty close to being done. We found it's 80% accurate or something like that. And then, because it's visual too, we're able to start labeling which are the steps that are regulatorily mandated, which are the steps that are value-adding, that improve the quality of the service that gets delivered to the person that consumes the service, and which are steps that are wasteful. And then we go to a second round where people identify the different sorts of waste using a different color Post-it. And now the way that we deliver the process mapping again is we train people on how to do the process mapping, and then our business analysts facilitate and then help consult with the people as they do it the first time and whatnot. So you end up finding people that do it on their own thereafter, or some people that request the assistance of the business analyst.